You're good enough for Detroit, Jay.
But DK Barrett will come from the
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Here comes that pressure. Mayfield in the middle. It's intercepted. It's Derek Barnes. Seattle's got to make a stop. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to throw it back to Goff. Who had that on the bingo card? And a second. Oh, here's a little trickery. St. Brown back to God. Lee Flicker's got Laporta wide open. Sam Laporta foot race towards the end zone. Diving touchdown. Unreal. 52 for the win. It is just good. Just inside the upright. Jake Bates, hometown hero. And the Lions have come all the way back. Here comes the heat. It's Hutchinson again. Number 3, the hat trick for Aiden Hutchinson.
Blocked there by Zylstra. It's caught by Jamison Williams. There he goes. Foot race with Miller. Foot race with Savage. That is 6 for number 9.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pride Podcast, episode 420 on the Blue Wire Network. I am your host, Tyler, joined by my main guy, as always, Pierre. Pierre, how we feeling? Season finale, Lions, Bears. The Lions ended a win.
I feel good about the W, but I feel awful about the season. I mean, that game was basically kind of like a microcosm of the Lions season. If you look the entire game, sort of, you know what I mean? Like, all right, it's 16-0. You're feeling good. All right, it's what, third and 1. Let's get cute. All right, we get a sack there, 4th and long. You punt it away. Okay, Bears march down. They tie the game. Like, oh shit, here we go again. All right, it's like 3rd and 20, and Goff just throws a fuck it, Saint down there somewhere ball, and it's a pick. I'm like, what is going on here? And then like the defense actually stepped up when they needed them today, so that was nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Jake Bates, obviously, St. Brown clutch catch, Jake Bates field goal. But just like the entire game kind of felt like the microcosm of like the season, sort of, if that makes sense.
But we won. That was the vice versa, because it feels like a lot of those have been leading up to losses, right? So, I know the game, some people say meaningless game. There's nothing that meant for as far as standings or making the playoffs or anything like that. Like, everything was pretty much locked and loaded. But
Ben Johnson, this is personal. I don't care.
Yeah, I think it's always important to win every game as much as possible. And then that might sound like a crazy dynamic, but I think that is very important to win as many games as you could, even if it messes up your draft pick or even it messes up your schedule, whatever it may be, right? I'm just happy the Lions went out there with some pride, man, because it felt like last game when they played the Minnesota Vikings on Christmas Day, they just felt like they had nothing in them. They felt like there was no energy in that game. They felt like they had no pride in that game to go win that game. And for them to go find it, even though they are, it's a disappointing season, even though they're not going to be in the playoffs, I think it is still very, very important, because these are the core players, right? Like, these guys are still going to be here for many more years. And I think it's important to build that winning culture still. They've already built it, but to sustain that winning culture, even with the disappointing season, like the motto when you play Detroit Lions football is to always win. That should always be the mindset. Doesn't matter the circumstances. If there is a football field and you're playing on an NFL game, the Detroit Lions should want to win that game. So I'm happy. You went out there. You still own the Bears. I think the last time the Chicago Bears have beat you was in 2021. So that's a good thing, right? Like, I want that streak to continue as long as possible. So I am happy the Lions went out there. Beat a pretty damn good team, man. This is a team that's been playing really, really good football. Obviously, the Chicago Bears are not playing good football? Come on, man. They're a good football team.
I'll say this about the Bears. I'll say they got lucky a few times. They remind me of the Commanders from last year. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, the Commanders went to the NFC Championship.
No,
they went to Detroit and stomped on you last year.
I don't necessarily mean like NFC Championship game. What I mean is like they have like a lot of issues. They really do.
I mean, whatever it is, they're still their record is what the record is. They
Yeah,
are
on
on paper they
Yeah.
are a good football team. They have played well. So I think it's important that the Lions went out there and beat a good football team.
I personally think they'll get bounced in round 1, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I don't like the Packers either, so I don't know about that, but we'll see.
I think Oh, they play the Packers round 1.
Yeah.
So. Oh, shit. Well, I don't know about either of those two teams. Whatever.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that. So I thought it could go either way that game, but whatever, right? I don't give a fuck about the Bears or the Packers. I hope they both lose somehow next week. I know it's impossible. I hope that's. I don't know. Maybe Roger Goodell could put something in his cards that they could both lose somehow. But all right, let's talk about this fall game. Let's talk about the season in general. Let's start off with the offense because this was an interesting game offensively. Pierre, what are your biggest takeaways from this Lions offense today?
Got cute a lot. I'm not really like that. Dan Campbell, I thought, didn't really call a good game, to be honest. I thought Jared Goff was hooping today. Outside of that, fuck it, St. Brown is down there somewhere pass. I thought Jared Goff played great. The O-line, obviously, it's been what it is all year, and it was bad again this year, but you had a few backups in there, right? Chris Hubbard was in there. Looks like Mahogany was in and out of lineup with the injury. Frazier was in there a little bit. I don't know. It was just a mess. Graham Glasgow, I love you. Thank you for everything you did for my Michigan Wolverines and my Detroit Lions, but enjoy retirement, dude, or whatever. Just enjoy something. Not with the Lions next year, though. I'm sorry. That's really my thought, Tyler. I thought the running game at times was there. At times it wasn't, but they kind of stuck with it. There was a few times, the one in the red zone where they went 3 straight passes. I wish they ran a little more over there. Red zone offense looking good, but overall, man, it was a good W. And they were injured, and they made the plays when they needed to make them.
Yeah. I think today was a really good day for Jared Goff. Very confident out there, right? I feel like he had the right answer at the right times against the Chicago Bears defense. And then, you saw him stall out a couple times in the red zone. And that's obviously been kind of an issue for this football team this year. They did enough to go out there and win the game, but the red zone offense needs to be cleaned up. I think the play calling in general needs to be cleaned up. But I think in a microcosm, like you said, when you look at this Detroit Lions team, and especially this Detroit Lions offense, the talent's there, and you see it flash. And I think you saw a lot of moments where it flashed today. You saw a pretty solid game from Jahmyr Gibbs. You saw a really good game out of Amon-Ra St. Brown. A pretty diverse passing game, getting J-Mo involved too. 6 catches, 74 yards for him. Khalif Raymond in the game plan a little bit. So a very, diverse. They were spreading the ball around. Jared Goff was balling out there. The talent is there offensively. I think there's just a couple more tweaks that they need to do this offseason and clean it up. But I think the biggest thing is play calling, because the play calling is what almost cost the Lions this game. I mean, like you mentioned, getting cute on certain moments, or I think the 3rd and 1's the one people are going to look back at and say that was a play where that could really cost you, and that could, end up being a loss in that situation, because, instead of being a 3rd and 1, you just go pound it in, go get a first down. Now you're having David Montgomery try to throw a ball at Jared Goff. You're taking a 5-yard loss, forces a punt. That could have been very, very nasty. And if the Lions end up losing this game, that's going to be the headline of the story, is what are we doing here? But overall, you escaped it. You don't complain about it. But, that's the biggest takeaway, I think, from this game. And just look at all year, honestly, is the Lions need to go out there. It's going to be really important for Dan Campbell to go out there and get a legitimate play caller. John Morton was a big flop this year. Dan Campbell tried to, fix this offense on his own this year. Obviously, we saw what it was, right? The talent's there. I just think the play calling's a little bit off. So, and today was a great example of that. So we'll see what they go in the offseason and how they could adjust, but it's going to be an important decision for Dan Campbell. Arguably the biggest decision of the offseason, I think, could say, is who is going to be calling plays for this offense next year.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do. Typically, he's gone back and hired his friends or people he's worked with. I mean, we don't know what he'll do, but I'm hoping he gets right, because honestly, the OC hire, he's kind of 0 for 2 with initial hirings of the OCs. Anthony Lynn and more, and Ben Johnson was on staff. I guess he knew what he had with him, and he promoted him. I don't know if we have necessarily a guy who could call plays on staff right now. I just don't, because if we did, I feel like he would have promoted them.
I agree.
I thought maybe Tyler Roll could be that position, but he's going to be the OC at Iowa State.
Iowa State, yep.
Yeah, so I don't know what he does there. That'll be something to watch in the offseason, but like you said, man, even like the Lions offense, like you saw this year, even like overcoming bad play calling, they still beat some teams' ass. Like they're just loaded. Like a few explosive plays here or there, it's wrap. But yeah, I mean, Tyler, you got to get it right. If you don't get it right, it's not gonna be good, man. And I trust Dan. He's 0 for 2 though. He has to like stop hiring his friends and go get a real OC that actually fits your offense.
Yeah, and that's why I said this is going to be an important decision for him, and arguably the biggest decision of this offseason, because like I feel like that's what's really kind of holding back the scene. Not the only thing, but I think it's a big thing of it, right? Because this offense, even with the hindering of a play calling, like they are still very dynamic. Their numbers are still going to be one of the top ones at the end of the season. But, they have to get back to their identity, man. And that is running the ball at a very high clip and effective rate. And you saw it get a little better today than it was the last couple of weeks. But, that's the Lions' identity, man, is get that running game going, get that play action going. And that's when you're going to see the best version of this Detroit Lions offense. That's when you're going to see the best version of Jared Goff. They need to unlock all these pieces that they have there, man, because this offense has too much talent to stall out as much as it has this whole season. So very, very important decision for Dan Campbell. And I agree with you. I don't think there's a guy internally that they could go out there and, promote right now, because I feel like if that was the case, they would have just done what they did in 2021, give Anthony Lynn the backseat and then, low key kind of promote Ben Johnson and have him be the play caller. They didn't do that this year when John Morton flopped. Dan Campbell, strictly took it on his own to call the play. So I feel like if they had a guy or they trusted a guy, it would have already happened now. It already happened by now. So yeah, I agree with you. I think they do have to go outside and go get a real play caller. So we'll see. Tomorrow's Black Monday, right? There's going to be a lot of firings around the league. You'll have some more clarity of some potential names that could be options for the Lions. So we'll see what happens there. But that's going to be, like I said, one of the most important offseason decisions that they're going to have to make this year. So again, like you said, Dan Campbell's 0-2 in that department. So we'll see. This is going to be a very big decision for him. And if I don't even want to think wrong, but if it does flop, then there's
we're not going to think like that.
Well, okay, we won't think like that. So we're going to think that he's going to get this one right, and we'll be good.
And another thing is too, just like I feel like Campbell just managing a game, like you could tell when he's calling the plays, he's not managing the game as much. He's worried about play calling, what's called the next sequence, the next series, whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like if he gives up play calling, so he could actually go being a coach, start talking to the guys on defense, on offense, special teams, motivating guys on the sideline, talking to players, whatever. It was really hard to do that when he switched to us. You could tell even the team like kind of like, I don't want to say like, how do I explain it? You could just tell like there was some issues with game management when he went back to calling plays versus when he was not calling plays.
I think the perfect example is in this game, particularly. They had the ball in field goal range. The Bears still had, I believe, 3 timeouts left, but 3 straight incomplete passes. And before you didn't even let it go to the 2-minute warning at all. So you gave the Bears a lot of clock, a lot of opportunity to go out there and let them end the game. And I feel like that's a big critique on Dan Campbell for one, because you got to do both. You got to manage the game and call plays. And there are some guys that are built to do that. There's a handful of coaches that do that in this league. I just don't think Dan Campbell, that is not his role, right? I don't think that's why the Lions hired Dan Campbell, to be an offensive mastermind. I feel like they hired him, like you mentioned, was to motivate these guys, get these guys ready to roll, which he's very good at, obviously, and is to manage the game, right? When to go from 4th down, when to kick a field goal, when to, whatever, right? All the simple football management, right, in games. So I feel like if they are able to get a real play caller on offense and let Dan Campbell take a back seat, right, be the head honcho and, have the final call of what's obviously going to happen, but have someone call the plays, I feel like the Lions offense could get back to where we've seen it the last, 2 to 3 seasons, and, even at moments this year too. So yeah, very important decision. But yeah, I agree with you, Pierre. There has been some moments where I think Dan Campbell calling plays and trying to manage the game at the same time has hindered this football team in general, not just the offense.
And I think he knows that. I think he's smart enough to know that too. I don't think he's an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, I think he knows that he needs to get this right. But just something that I wanted to bring up as well was I forgot what I was going to say. I'll come back later. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about this defense because, me and you particularly, and there's some people out there as well that have agreed with us, have, been giving some flock to Kelvin Shepherd, right? And today he goes out there. Bears score 16 points. Ben Johnson offense that's been kind of rolling this year. Obviously, a very creative play caller with Ben. We know with his time in Detroit, and then we've seen it here with Chicago this year. Caleb's been balling for them. What'd you overall think of Shep's game plan today versus Chicago Bears?
All right, I'll give him credit. Ben Johnson went to the game thinking it was going to be all man coverage. They were calling man beaters all game. I mean, like the first half, and then Shep was playing a lot of zone. Then obviously Ben adjusted in the second half, as you saw. Their pass game came a little alive and all that. But I thought Shep had a great game plan today. Now I've been giving him a lot of shit, but he wasn't just spamming man or blitz all game. He changed it up. He confused them a little bit. Ben was not in his bag today. I mean, he won the chess match. We said Shep been losing that chess match a lot. Shep won it this week. He won that chess match. It was really good to see, actually. So I love that. Another thing is, I just want to bring up one more thing. I thought Ben Johnson at halftime said something very disrespectful. This is what he said. He said this was one of the easier game plans all year. Like, he actually thought they were going to come in and just play man all day and then lose their burden and DJ Moore going to run open on these crossers or whatever. And Shep was like, no, I'm not doing that. The play zone. Also, man, I thought Hutch had one of his best games of the year. I know that he only had a sack, but he was constantly in the backfield today, disrupting the quarterback.
Yeah, no, they played well today, and especially in that first half, man. I mean, they really had the locks in, and like you mentioned, they really shied away from that man coverage, which has been the Detroit Lions' MO for how many years now? I mean, this regime, the previous regime, like Lions in defense and man coverage have been the Lions' MO for a very long time. And today they shied away from that and went more zone. And this is a team, when they have tried zone, haven't been particularly well. And I feel like that's why the Lions don't run a lot of zone, usually in the season, right? But today it was working for them, right? Even with missing a lot in that secondary, we've talked about their safety losses. They started Dan Thomas today. They started Avonte Maddox. Maddox gets an interception today. That was really nice. He played that ball perfectly on the DJ Moore long route. I mean, Caleb Williams just hasn't thrown many interceptions here. I think it was his first pick like in over a month or about a month. Yeah, Maddox played that ball great. The corners played a really good game today in general. Yeah, but overall, I mean, have the last 2 weeks encouraged you on Kelvin Shepherd being a potential solid DC, or would you want to still keep him around, or do you still want to get rid of him?
All right, I'm not going to count last week's game because it's
fair.
Max
Brosmer.
But I was pretty impressed with the game plan today. Look, man, it looks like they're going to keep him. He said there's not going to be any drastic changes, but there will be some changes. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of personnel changes. There's a lot of free agents on the D-line and secondary, and I think they're going to maybe bring different guys in, especially on the D-line. Like DJ Reader, I think he's done as a line. Alex Anzalone's free agent, something to watch. Amik Roberts is a free agent. I don't think he's back. Stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. Rodrigo's a free agent. I don't know if he'll be back or not either. So maybe just trying to bring in some fresh blood, I think.
So you're expecting Shep to be back next year?
It sounds like he'll be back next year, yeah. Look, in general, I was not a fan of the scheme, but as we saw today, it may be a little too late to adjust, but as we saw today, he showed he's not arrogant or stubborn, kind of just playing man and I don't care. I'm just going to play man all day. So that was nice to see. He changed it up. So you're hoping in the future, I know he did a little this year, but you're hoping in the future, though, next year and hopefully well beyond that, if he's good, that he adjusts every week. He changes the plan. And one thing, though, their linebackers are not really good in zone coverage, and we saw that today as well.
Yeah.
So maybe gets better linebackers that could drop back in zone. That might be an emphasis this offseason on defense. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting decision. I agree with you. I think he's going to be back next season. I mean, Dan Campbell gave him his flowers on the radio, I think, earlier this week.
He didn't confirm he'd be back, but...
No, he didn't. But he gave his flowers, so he's doing a damn good job. the trend feels like he's coming back, and even him himself kind of talking about next year. It just feels like he's going to be back next year. Do I agree with that decision? I don't know yet. I really don't know yet. If I really do think if it was my call, I would part ways and maybe go a more experienced route there. But like you mentioned, he has gotten better, and today was a good game for him today. And we've seen the glimpses of him being a good play caller. I don't know, man. I want to see a little bit more from him, and I know it's a tough decision because it's only been 1 year, and do you want to cut ties only after 1 year? And he's been a good damn position coach for this football team. I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough decision for Dan, but like you mentioned, I think he's going to be back. But if that's the right call, I don't have a definitive yes or no. I lean towards I would want him more out than in, but I don't know. I just feel like his scheme has been funky all year. He's been not putting his guys in the right position to go out there and be at their best. And I feel like that's more of a scheme issue. And yes, the personnel could definitely get better. But I just feel like for the most part this year, they just didn't have a true identity on defense. Now, today it was better, right? They stopped the run pretty well. They had made Caleb Williams a little distracted with the zone coverage that they were not expecting. So, like, we've seen those moments out of him. It just wasn't consistent enough. And we didn't see it enough this year for me to feel 1,000% confident that he should be my defensive coordinator next year. I'm hoping this could have been maybe an experimental year for him, and he could learn a lot from this year if he is back. And, he could carry over this offseason and bring that into next year. And he could be a pretty damn good defensive coordinator for us. But it's just hard right now for me to sit here after this season and be 1,000% confident that he should be our defensive coordinator next year.
Look, I personally, I'd move on, but I get why he'd want to bring him back as well, because you'd be implementing another defensive scheme with someone else again, and you'd be doing this and that, and it's a lot. So I get it, and he likes him. They've developed him. They want him to be in this role. Last year they were developing him to be the next coordinator. So yeah. I don't think Dan gives up on him after one season. We'll see, though.
I have an interesting question for you. This is more of a hypothetical because nothing has happened yet.
Yeah.
The Jets, if they are to make a one and done with Aaron Glenn, would you like Aaron Glenn next year as your defensive coordinator back in Detroit?
I've said it multiple times. I'd take AG back in a heartbeat.
See,
the red zone defense and the third down defense was really good under him. His Achilles heel was the mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah, and the run defense was elite.
The run defense was elite with him as well. But it sounds like Schefter reported this morning that AG is safe. So
let's say the hypothetical, though, if he is gone, I feel like that's the one where it could make sense, where it's not a huge adjustment because a lot of these guys here are already used to Aaron Glenn as their DC. I feel like that's the only one where I could see them potentially parting ways with him. If AG gets fired by the New York Jets sometime this week, that's the only legitimate defensive coordinator I could see being here in Detroit in 2026 outside of Kelvin Shepard.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
We'll see. I don't know. There's been rumblings, but, heard both ways. So we'll see what ends up happening this week. We'll probably get more clarity, I would assume, tomorrow. Just going to have a final season press conference, and we'll probably get more clarity of what they're going to do with that. Are they going to keep Aaron Glenn, or are they going to part ways with him?
Yeah, and we should hear from Brad Holmes probably sometime next week, I believe. Him and Dan will have their final season presser, right? And then you'll hear from some of the players as well. So there's going to be a lot of decisions. Then you'll hear from them in the combine, which is like crazy. It's almost here.
It's in February, right? Yeah.
Or
early March, yeah, whatever.
Getting there, yeah. So, It's just the season, man. Look, it was a bad season, but they still won 9 games, which is pretty I don't want to say impressive, but for a down year winning 9 games, obviously expectations were high. Just got to get back to it next year. Big off season. You guys keep an eye on these off season pods. We're gonna do a lot of them for you guys. Big off season coming up. A lot of decisions, especially just with the free agents they have, with the money they want to move around, all that. So I'm excited about this off season. I really am. It's probably the most pivotal off season in Lions. The past 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah, it's a very important one, right? And I do agree where I think this is a team that could rebound next year. I don't think everything's falling apart right now. I think Dan Campbell said it best, man. Like, you kind of have to hit rock bottom to kind of see the success again. And I feel like right now, even at 9-8, like it's a winning season, and I think that's a good thing that we're feeling very disappointed. We're calling this rock bottom at 9-8 right now. I think that's a good thing right now because the expectation is so high. They set such a high bar level that they want to succeed right now. And I know these guys are going to be really, really hungry next year, because the main core guys that are going to be here next year, the guys that are already extended, these guys are going to be hungry next year. They want to come back with vengeance next year. So I don't think the sky's fallen after this, disappointing season. And, like you mentioned, big offseason. They're going to have some important decisions to have. And we're going to see what happens, man. It's a lot of decisions to make this year, man. A lot of decisions. Who's going to be calling plays on both sides of the ball. Personnel stuff, like there's a lot of stuff that they're gonna have to decide this offseason. So we'll see what Brad Holmes, we'll see what Dan Campbell, we'll see what the staff has in their bag this offseason, and got to get this football program back to the identity that we've seen the last couple of years and get them right back on top. And the first and foremost is get that NFC North right back. I don't like that being in Chicago. I want it back.
I don't like it being Green Bay, Chicago. It's ours. I think next year is going to be our year. I really do. Like, I just kind of feel it. I just feel like we have the most talent, and I don't think Brad Holmes is going to ignore the O-line this offseason. I think they're going to aggressively attack it and add multiple players at multiple positions. And then, the defense is it's just a work in progress. I don't think you could fix it in one offseason. I think it'll take 2 years to kind of retool it with different personnel and stuff.
Yeah.
But you fix that offense, though, the O-line, and then maybe you add to the D-line a little bit. A good pass rush makes a bad secondary look average. Makes a good secondary, a great pass rush makes good secondary look great.
Yeah.
So that's the hope. Trench off season.
Oh yeah.
We love fat people. Pause. We love fat people.
Big motherfuckers.
We love those guys on this podcast, man. We really do. We have the skill guys. We love fat people.
Yeah, well, that's got to be what it's got to be for the Lions this offseason. So, all right, before we do Baller of the Week and Oopsie Doops of the Week, I just want to get some things out there for the offseason for people to, kind of get their, just I don't know, chew on, I guess. So the Lions are going to play the 4th place schedule. So that means you will be playing the NFC South and the AFC East. That's obviously predetermined. And then the 3 extra games that you're going to be getting are New York Giants at home, Arizona Cardinals on the road, and then from the AFC, it'll begin the Tennessee Titans at home. So that is with the 4th place schedule. And then draft pick wise, if people are curious, it could be either 16th or 17th. The Sunday night football game between the Ravens and Steelers is going to be an important decision for that. If the Ravens are able to win, the Lions will pick 16. If the Ravens are to lose, the Lions will be picking 17. So a 1-pick difference in between. So we'll have that final pick. We'll know what that
Go Ravens. Go Lamar.
Go Ravens. Yep, we're trying for the Ravens today. If you want the 16th pick, so
if I get 1 pick closer, that's a win. So go Ravens. But if the Ravens lose, I'm not gonna cry about one pick.
So you pick 17.
I'm not gonna cry about moving up a pick or down a pick, whatever.
But yeah, go Ravens. So let's get a better pick. So we get pick 16 if the Ravens are able to go out there and win today. So I think that's pretty much it for now. Let's do Oopsie Doopsie and Baller of the Week, and then we'll head out of here. So, Pierre, I will give you the honors. Do I have the Malcolm skills to pull up the clip? You know what? I might not be Malcolm. So, you might just have to go out there and say Baller of the Week.
Yeah, the Baller of the Week to me is Amon-Ra St. Brown, 15 targets. Had that one drop, but I thought it was good coverage. I didn't really think it was a drop. I don't know if they count it as drop, but either way, 11 receptions, 139 yards. Seems like every time he needed a play on 3rd down or needed a money play, he made it. I thought Saint was great today, man. And they said he was playing through an ankle injury and a knee injury. That's kind of crazy last game. That doesn't mean much to play him, but they played him and he played well. And knock on wood, no serious injuries today as well. Another Ball of the Week, no injuries.
Oh, wait. Hold up. That's not it. Okay, hold up. I'll take it. I don't even know if you guys hear that. Oh, there we go.
All right. So I don't know if you heard it. I said no injuries, knock on wood, and then St. Brown just going crazy.
Yeah, no, Saint was great today. He didn't have to be out there today, honestly. They could have definitely faked some type of injury and say he was out today. man, he could have went to the offseason and get ready for the season. So he is. I really do believe he's the heartbeat of this team, man. You know, the Dallas game we saw earlier in the year, you know, with the ankle sprain, he goes out there and has a game out there, and then goes out there today in a, I don't want to say meaningless game, but a game that didn't really mean much out there, right? Like, he is the heartbeat of this team, man. I'm very happy that he's a Detroit Lion. I'm happy he's going to be a Detroit Lion for a very long time. So I couldn't agree more with you. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown deserves the ball of the week.
Yep.
All right. Let's see if I could pull the other. Is this it? No, hold up. All right. Oopsie doopsie of the week. Who is the oopsie doopsie of the week today? I haven't really thought about it. You know what, Peter? I'm going to go back to the quote that you said. Ben Johnson disrespected the Detroit Lions at halftime. I think this is going to be one of his easier games out there. He goes out there and loses game. He gets swept by his former team this season. The Bears still suck. The Bears can't beat the Lions. The last time they beat the Lions is 2021. So your oopsie doopsie of the week, even though they're going to the playoffs and we're sitting in Cancun, is still going to be Ben Johnson. So that is your oopsie doopsie.
Oh,
I like it.
Let me play a sad
There you
song
go.
for you on the
I found
world's
it.
smallest violin.
All right, there you go. That is your oopsie doopsie of the week. Peter, got anything else to add on this game?
No, I actually want to go watch this game because it's gonna be a fun one. They're playing for like the playoffs.
Yep. All right. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed. We will be signing out. And we got a lot of offseason stuff to cover. So peace out, guys. Hope you guys all enjoyed.
All right, guys, I'm out. Peace.